But joining us now is Susan Ferrechio, someone who always exhibits good taste, Chief Congressional Correspondent, Washington Examiner. Hey, Susan, how are you?
Very good. Good to be here.
Well, good to have you as usual. All right, let's get to the gun debate. The president, again, same old, same kind of speech. And he brought back 11 family members of Newtown to lobby Congress, I guess. And Harry Reid has said that come 5 o'clock, which is about an hour and a half away, if a deal isn't reached between Pat Toomey on the Republican side and Joe Manchin on the Democrat side, he's going to go to the floor with the debate over gun control, and the Republicans say they'll filibuster.
Well, I think the way it's looking at like now is he's just going to move his bill to the floor, which is the one we all know about. It's got the universal background checks, some school safety, federal funding, and some strengthened laws that are concerning gun trafficking. And then if there are amendments, he's going to allow an amendment process, like Manchin and Toomey could have their amendment on background checks. There could be additional amendments that strengthen the bill in Reid's perspective or weaken the bill in Reid's perspective. That could be part of the debate going forward. So really the question is, are there these 60 votes that will be required to move the bill to the floor and to stop a filibuster? That is the question that everybody's asking up here right now. Sounds like at this point that there are those 60 votes, and that's because there are a number of Republicans who are at least willing to debate the measure. And that doesn't mean they're going to ever come to a vote on it, a full vote on in conclusion, but it sounds like we are going to be debating this on the floor. That's because you've got senators including Susan Collins, John McCain, Mark Kirk of Illinois, and others who say that they don't feel like they should filibuster this background check bill, that they think that it should be debated. So I don't see it getting completely blocked at this point. And so that's a development up here that we've all discovered today, that a lot of Republicans, in order to block a bill, you would need almost complete solidarity in the GOP because they only control fewer than 50 votes. Even on the Republican side, they could stand to lose a couple of their own members who are very vulnerable. They're up for re-election this year. They include Mark Pryor of Arkansas, Max Baucus of Montana, both of whom are on the fence right now about whether they would vote to even move the bill to the floor for debate. So at this point, it's looking more likely that this bill will at least be on the floor, up for debate, up for amendment in the days ahead, and then where it goes from there is not clear. It depends on what kind of amendments pass. If it's something that can help some Republicans go along, like Susan Collins, where you would have, the Manchin-Toomey compromise on background checks that involve background checks, but with exceptions for family members and hunters. That could help bring in enough Republicans to actually move this thing off the floor for a final vote, off debate rather.
Right.
So it's at this point it sounds like the other moving part in the total equation, Steve, is that today on Capitol Hill we have many of you references in the opening here that there are a lot of families here from Newtown. The president was in Hartford last night talking about the Newtown shooting. He brought back a dozen of these family members on Air Force One. They are now here in Washington, and most of them are on Capitol Hill today, meeting with senators and trying to move the ball forward on what they believe should be in the bill. Of course, they want something, many of these family members, that's not just background checks, but they would like to see limits on magazine clip size and a complete ban on many types of assault-style weapons. So they are making their way around Capitol Hill, talking to people. They met with the two Connecticut senators today. One thing that's interesting about the family members is that so far they are denying requests to meet with any members of the media. So they've been kind of shuttled around the Capitol today without us seeing them or being able to talk to them. So they're here, but they're doing it.
Shuttled around, Susan, by the administration?
Well, I think they probably have some minder that's getting them around. There's no other way they'd be able to get around up here. I didn't see anyone in the administration with them, so I don't know that. But they are here, and they're being escorted around from one senator's office to another, and they're going to be doing that today and tomorrow and the next day. They have appointments set up with various senators to talk about the issue. their goal is to try to change the minds
Right.
of
Right.
guys and girls on the fence, but also just to kind of reinforce their position on this. It's kind of a critical time up here. This thing is sort of hitting a tipping point.
No,
Where,
absolutely, and I'm glad you brought us some news that wasn't aware of, and we'll watch and see, and we'll watch what the vote tally is, and we'll watch for a deal before 5 o'clock. All eyes will be on
the vote won't be
Susan.
It's going to be on Thursday. So just,
Right.
you know.
All right, Susan, I thank you as always. Susan Ferrechio, Chief Congressional Correspondent, Washington Examiner. We'll speak to you again very soon. Thank you.